Hello once again. So welcome to another video under purposive communication, specifically under chapter 3, local and global communication in multicultural settings. And today we're going to discuss the dimensions of cultural differences. So when we say cultural differences, nowadays we don't need to go to faraway places to know whether there are really cultural differences, because we could really see cultural differences even if we are in the same place, okay? Because with the increase in international trade and immigration, the likelihood of working with people from different parts of the world, there will be cultural differences, and at present, it's greater than ever. So, cultural differences are apparent in 4 basic traits. So, we have the leadership, work productivity, group allegiance, and task commitment. So, let's discuss this one by one. So what do we mean by leadership when it comes to purposive communication? So the key characteristic on leadership is power or influence. So in a high power group leadership, the few in power formulate policy and activity of the many. So we have leaders who are often dictators, okay? High and low power differences exist in terms not only of governed groups, okay? So we don't see this in the government or in any type of organization, but also of relationships between husband and wife, boss and employer, or group leader and participant. So why do we need to tackle this cultural differences across these traits? Because we share different language, okay? When we talk to our employees, if you're the employer, when we talk to our husbands, when you're the wife, when we talk to our members, if you're the group leader, so we must be mindful of our language. Next is work productivity. So the labels do not refer to gender issues at all, but to the descriptive behavior of the group participants, okay? So it means to say that in a masculine culture of a work environment, okay, there are aggressive or assertive behavior whose objective is success in competition, and winning is regarded with high honor. But of course, if we're going to say that it's just the masculine culture who have this one, then it's kind of gender discrimination. But in the past, they have this one. So let's just talk about it. So we have the feminine culture, okay? And what do we mean by feminine culture? They give primary consideration to modesty, quality of life, and tenderness. So rewards are given for work satisfaction, and salaries are determined based on need, not on production. Yes. So in a masculine work environment, unions symbolize high salaries, large output, and major impact. While in a feminine environment, compatibility exists, unions supply needed employees, and there is less emphasis on status. Okay, but if we're going to really talk about it, there must be a fair treatment to feminine and masculine, especially when it comes to their rewards from their work. Okay, next is group allegiance. So there's a bipolar characteristic, likewise, of individual and group orientation. In an individual orientation, Okay, that's individualism. An individual can change the standards of the culture, but in a group orientation, collectivism, whose emphasis is on the group, sacrificing everything for the sake of the group can change the culture. Individuals who have restructured culture are Jesus Christ, Gandhi, Luther King, Hitler, and others. So, they have changed the culture. Okay. On the other hand, okay, there are also group or collectivists who affected the society. So, in a group orientation, the group decides the options of an individual about things like life, work, education, or marital status. So, they seek for the advice of the members or the majority. So, individualism and collectivism differ on how people define their relationships with others. Okay. Okay. In individualistic culture, I is the most important thing. But of course, in a collectivist culture, it is we. So, specifically when it comes to the acknowledgement of the effort, recognition of the sacrifices made, okay, for collectivist culture, they would like to say that the output was done based or due to the effort of everybody. And that is what is good about collectivism culture. Next is task commitment. So here, the focus is on elements controlling the group, such as tradition and commitment to the group. So we have the high context culture versus the individual low context culture. Okay. High context culture resists change, so few changes are made since the belief is what was good enough for father and grandfather is good enough for me. That's high context. Low context cultures work for the good of the cause, not for the welfare of the group. The focus is on the here and now and to get the job done. So change, growth, and innovation are encouraged. So if I were to be asked, I would rather want to have this low context cultures on their task commitment in which they don't really talk about the welfare of the group but on how the job could be done. But of course, we must be respectful to the extent that we sympathize with who are really working in a certain group. Okay, so that's for task commitment. Okay, so those are the cultural differences, specifically the dimensions of cultural differences. Thank you so much.